The schedule is getting real this week, boys and girls. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Gore, and as usual, this is my weekly college football picks video, ESPN Confidence style. So thank you guys for watching. Stick with me here as I go through the 10 games that ESPN's chosen for us to pick. And I've also thrown in, as I've been doing, a couple of more that I just wanted to highlight that are not on the ESPN Pick'em slate of games this week. So, like I say, it is real this week. The out of conference has been kind of meh, kind of so-so. This week is when it gets really real. There are some big ranked matchups. It's going to be kind of a separation kind of Saturday. You're going to kind of see where people stand. You're going to get a glimpse as to who the early contenders are for sure. We're going to have some separation between some teams. We'll be able to, break out the measuring stick and see how some of these teams stack up against the top end of competition. So it's a very difficult week to pick games, especially when you're doing confidence, when you have to allocate points to your picks. So I'm going to try my best here. So far on the year, we're 18-12, which is okay. Got off to a slow start, but not bad. 119 points puts us in the 63rd percentile, so we're climbing a little bit. We were 7-3 last week, so we're going to hope, like I say, so I'll take 7-3 this week because it is a rough week to pick games. There are some good ones. It's going to be an exciting day of college football. And without further ado, let's get started. I'm going to put my my max point game, I'm going to give it to North Carolina. I'm not quite sure why this game is on here, to be honest with you. There's a couple of others that I would have put on here instead of this one. North Carolina, to be fair, has not played great. Drake May has not played great. He has not played up to his standard from last year. But they're 3-0, and they're going on a road and playing just a bad Pittsburgh team. I mean, if you've watched them the last few weeks, it's not been pretty. Phil Jurkovec is complaining. He's running his mouth about the fans. But the bottom line is he's playing terrible football, and Pittsburgh losing. The offense isn't very good. So I'll take the points where I can get them. I feel good about North Carolina this week in a week that's going to be, maybe you're going to have to pick well to get points this week. I like Pittsburgh pretty safely, and hopefully it doesn't bite me in the ass. Moving on here, it's tough. I was impressed with Missouri last week. I really was. I'm pretty sure, I'd have to look back, but I'm pretty sure every week in these videos I've talked up an upset, not picked it, and then gone on to lose the game because I didn't stick my neck out a little bit. So, but I was impressed with Missouri. They hung with Kansas State. I was a little worried about it, that being Kansas State's first real game of the year on the road, and Missouri wound up winning on that hilarious 61-yard field goal at the end of it. So they're good. They're a good offense. They're a good team. So is Memphis, really. So I think this is going to be a good game. But I liked what I saw out of Missouri, and I will put the points on them and make them my 9-point game and get them to 4-0, which might consider them in ranked territory by the end of the weekend. We'll see. Moving on here, it's gonna get tough. I like both of these teams. Again, it's a tough week. I'm just gonna pick Kansas here. I'm gonna put 8 points on them to beat BYU. I was watching that BYU Arkansas game last week, and BYU. You think they play solid defense, but they haven't. They just haven't. The offense is there, but the defense is just not keeping pace. And I really, really like this Kansas offense. They've done a great job down there turning the culture around. That new head coach from Buffalo is doing an outstanding job, Lance Leipold. He's been great for them. It's great to see Kansas back to kind of respectability and contending. Winning football in Kansas is you love to see it. So I like them at home to get the win in again another good out of conference game, which I believe is going to be a conference game again soon, because BYU, it might be a conference game this year with BYU moving into the Big 12. So I like Kansas to go to 4-0, and we'll move along here. I'm going to go with Florida State here and put them at my 7-point game. I don't know that Clemson has figured out their offense just yet. They seem to be they're okay. They're improving, but I don't know that they're quite there yet. And I think Florida State maybe, they almost got caught at Boston College, and really with the way Boston College played and all those penalties they took, maybe Florida State escaped one there with the bandana game and all that. And maybe they were looking ahead to this week's game a bit with Clemson. But I think you're going to get a bit of a sharper, focused Florida State team. I think if they were planning for this game, well, here we are. It's time to get the win against mighty Clemson, right? In a year where they look to be gettable and not exactly the favorite. So I like Florida State to continue. Now, Jordan Travis did get hurt in the game last week. He did come back, so I believe he's okay. If there's an issue there, that could impact that pick greatly, but we'll see. Moving on here, where am I going next? I am going to go, I think this is a very underrated team, so I'm going to throw some points on them here. I am going to go with Washington State to maybe get a bit of an upset here against Oregon State. The West Coast, it's smallish school, but man, their offense is really good. I picked them against Wisconsin at home. And I'm going to kind of go back to the well here with them. I know Oregon State's a very good team. It's not a slight against them. I enjoy both these teams. Again, it's just a great weekend of football. But I like Washington State at home. I do. I like Cameron Ward. I like the offense, and I like the environment there on the Palouse to maybe clip Oregon State and get the upset here. Like I say, I think Oregon State's just fine. Like I said, I don't have it's not a slight against them. I really enjoy watching them play. Jonathan Smith, obviously a very good coach. He's done a great job with Oregon State. DJ Uiagalelei is playing playing fairly well. He's moving the offense, and the defense is a solid one. But like I say, I think Washington State at home, something about them that I really like, and I'm going to go with them to get the upset here. And with that, I mean that would push them probably into the top 15 easy. So, be a nice weekend for Washington State. I certainly hope. Next game up for me, I'm not a fan of either of these teams. Like, I'm not the world's biggest Ohio State and Notre Dame guy. It's not my thing, but I am going to pick Notre Dame here to get the win. I guess this game to me comes down to the quarterback position, and I'm much more sold on Notre Dame's quarterback than I am Kyle McCord. I think Notre Dame is obviously much more solidified there. We'll see what McCord becomes, but I just like Notre Dame in general, and I like Marcus Freeman. I think he's he is a good coach. It's going to be a great football game, though. I could see this game going either way. It's like this is the prime separation game, right? Notre Dame's really got to win it because they're not affiliated in a conference to kind of say, hey, we beat Ohio State at the end of the year, and look where they are. They're in the Big Ten title game, and we beat them. So they really need that for that resume build type thing at the end of the year. And I think they're going to get it done and win a very, very tight game. I think it's going to be competitive the whole way, and maybe Notre Dame by like a field goal at the end of it, something like that. That leaves us with 4 more games to pick. I don't like Texas A&M. Like every week I watch them, and it's like they just don't. Something's rotten about the team. I tweeted about that a couple of weeks ago, watching them against Miami. Like, just something is just not right about Texas A&M. They have all this talent, they have all this firepower, and yet it never ever translates on the field. It's just some weird stuff that always happens, and I don't know. To me, that always comes back to coaching, right? When you have the talent, you have the recruiting classes, and you have all of this. But it doesn't translate on the field, then it's off the field. That's the issue, and it's the coaching staff and the thing. So, Jimbo's a big money guy. The buyout is absurd, but I just don't like. And honestly, Auburn hasn't particularly played very well this year. Year 1 with Hugh Freeze. I don't know that they're set on a quarterback, Peyton Thorne, Robbie Ashford. I don't know where they're at there. So I don't necessarily like Auburn either, but I just do not trust Texas A&M in any measurable way. So I'm going to go with Auburn in maybe a little bit of an upset on the road. And I don't know where Texas A&M goes from here. It's just a very, very frustrating team. They recruit, and then it never translates. So tough spot, I think, long-term for Texas A&M. But let's get to the last 3 here. They're getting trickier, and I'm getting a little bit eager for a couple of upsets. I'm gonna go with Ole Miss to beat Alabama. I can't believe I'm saying this about an about an Alabama football team, but I don't know who's going to be their quarterback. I mean, none of them are playing well. They can't get anything out of all three of their quarterbacks. Neither Buckner and Ty Simpson. Ty Simpson's a freshman, so maybe you kind of give him a pass a little bit, and he got thrown into the game. But Tyler Buckner should be playing better than that, right? He's familiar with Tommy Rees. The offense he understands the offense. Tyler Buckner should have played a lot better against South Florida. South Florida. Like, it's just, there's no conceivable way how that game should have been as close as it was. But Alabama's offense just is smelly. It's just stinky. And it's just no good. And the reason why is the quarterback position. And that their receivers aren't great. They're okay, but they're not great. You know, you don't have Julio Jones and Amari Cooper and guys like that coming through there anymore. They don't have that in this receiving core. So I'll go with what I know. And I know Lane Kiffin's going to put up points. So I'll take Ole Miss here and drop Alabama to 2-2. I mean, when's the last time you've said that about Alabama? But I think it's going to happen. Like I say, I'll take the sure thing. I'll take Ole Miss in the offense over the question marks about Alabama, where they're at the quarterback position. These next two games, I'm going to go with UCF against Kansas State. And mostly because I'll put the low points on it, mostly because I'm not sure. I know Will Howard got beat up in the game against Missouri, so I don't know what his status is exactly. But whether or not he plays, Kansas State's offense is just kind of weird. They were very conservative in the game against Missouri. Like, they played right into the upset. I felt like they were conservative. It was not a very. I mean, I guess maybe it was because of the injury to Will Howard and the fact that the freshman was in a quarterback. And maybe the weather had something to do with it a little bit, but I don't know. It was just strange. It was just very, very conservative game plan there on the road. And I know UCF with Gus Malzahn, we know they're going to push the pace. We know they're going to push the pace offensively. So I like them. I went against them week one and got burnt on the road. So maybe I'll go back and try my shot at UCF this time on the road to get another win against Kansas State. And that leaves me with another great Pac-12 game. The reason why I've dropped it all the way down to 1, and I know I've talked up Utah a couple of times in my college football videos, but I actually like UCLA this week. Utah's offense has been okay, but it's not exactly been great without Cam Rising and Keithy. They've struggled a little bit. They've not exactly been at full power, and you know they're going to play well defensively. You know at home it's a tough place to play, right? But I kind of like this Utah team. I like Chip Kelly and Dante Moore. I like that connection. I like the fact that they, I guess they were a little bit unsure about putting the freshman in right away, but he's played well enough to keep that job. And they've been, again, weak schedule. I get it, but they've played well, and they put up a lot of points, which Chip Kelly does. And like I say, just a little bit of, it's okay, but not great with Utah with the backups. So I'm going to go UCLA in the upset there to kind of maybe send a shockwave in the Pac-12, send UCLA up the ranks, drop Utah a little bit. And that is going to do it for this week's picks. It's a great weekend of football, but I do just want to mention a few other games. Colorado, for the first time this season, we are not picking them. They go on the road to Oregon. I'm surprised that this game is actually not on the slate, and North Carolina Pitt is. It's a little bit weird. I know they put Colorado on every week, but I think it deserves to be mentioned this week. Colorado's flaws, I think, are starting to show. Defensively, they're not very good. They can't get any pass rush. They can't really cover on the back end great. They don't really have an ability to run the ball very well. A lot of the offense is on Shador and the receivers. And obviously, each week that goes by, there's more tape on that, and defensive coordinators get a grip on it more. So I think this is the come down to earth moment for Colorado. Like I say, I've made the video on Deion Sanders in Colorado. I like what he's doing. The plan is there, but like I say, their flaws are starting to show a little bit. And I think now they're getting into the portion of their schedule where the better teams are going to be exploiting those. So I think this one might be a bring down the hype a little bit moment. I like Oregon, obviously, to get the win. And Dion will now have to handle a loss for the first time during the week, so we'll see how he handles that. My other game I wanted to mention, Texas and Baylor. I'm considering doing a video on Texas standalone by itself, because I actually, for years, I've bucked the trend about Hook'em and all this stuff, and everybody's saying Texas is back and Texas is back. Well, I actually think this is the year that they are back. So now that I'm buying in, and that'll be, potentially what the video is about. Now that I bought in on Texas, you can't let me down here. They started off slow against Wyoming, finished strong, got the win, did what they had to do, and now they're back into the Big 12 scheduling, and they get a Baylor team on the road. So you got to keep going now. You have the expectations, you have the hype, you've got me buying in finally. Let's see. Let's keep it going now. Keep it rolling. You should win this game against Baylor. You should. Now go do it. Just cement yourself as a long-term playoff contending team this season. Let's see if they do it. And one other game I just wanted to mention real quick is Penn State, Iowa. Penn State's playing pretty good. They're going to be right there in the mix in the Big Ten. I mentioned about Iowa a while back. I thought that maybe they'd have enough offense now to kind of pair that up with the defense and be that, because I said every once in a while Iowa comes out of nowhere and they start unranked and they get going, and then they start racking up some wins, and then they shoot up into the top 25. Here they are. They're at number 24. Do I think they're going to win this game? No, because I actually don't. The offense is still, even with Cade McNamara, the offense is still not there. That's just a Ferentz problem, I feel like, honestly. I think they need to get with the times a bit. So I do think Penn State is going to win this game, but I just wanted to mention it because I think it could be close early. And Iowa, you never know. Like I say, every once in a while, Iowa comes up and surprises people. So potentially, but I don't see it here this week. So that's going to wrap it up for this video. Like I say, it's a great week of college football. I hope you guys enjoy it. Drop this video a like if you enjoyed it. Give me a comment. Let me know what you think about these games. I would love to hear from you guys. And obviously subscribe for more content like this. Thank you guys a bunch for watching, and I will see you in the next video.